A little further down the road, we arrived at Trailside Bike Park in Park City, Utah. We kicked things off with the easiest trail full of rollers, tabletops, and small berms.
That was awesome. Just manual jump to tabletops.
A nice mellow climb takes you to the top of the hill. There are 4 trails to choose from going down, ranging in difficulty from green to black.
This trail was the perfect difficulty for me. I could make all the tabletops and hit every wooden obstacle. I tend to lean more towards intermediate to difficult trails because they give me just enough challenge that it makes me push myself. But I have to say, this trail in particular was one of the funnest downhills I have been on.
Yeah!
That was so much fun.
It was a little scary to watch.
Oh, for me?
Yeah, the one tabletop you got really crossed up.
Oh, I know, and I know which one you're talking about too.
This trail was the only one that really warranted full suspension. It had a bunch of short rock gardens you could either jump or slam through, then mix it up with some wooden bridges, and finished off with some longer rock gardens. It was a nice change of pace to have some rocks thrown in, unlike the other trails that were full of smooth jumps and berms. Time for the drop. The final trail had a couple mandatory drops, but other than that, it was pretty mellow. It had a bunch of fun jumps and some nice berms. It was a good way to end the ride for me. I headed back to the van and let Hannah do another run on Bronto Jam. She seemed to love that trail, and I wanted to practice flying the drone, so it was a win-win. Back on the road and heading west, we had to stop by the salt flats and see how flat they really were. They were flat, so I did some research and tried to find some rocks. Turns out, not much further down the road in Nevada, they host RC crawling competitions, and I found the coordinates to a spot that was pretty sweet. Whenever I'm driving across the country, I like to break up the drive as much as possible by making a lot of stops. It just helps to keep me from getting burnt out on the drive and keeps me awake. RC crawling is one of my favorite things to do on a stop. It doesn't take a whole lot of energy, but it wakes you up and it's a lot of fun.
As you can see, I have a slight fear of heights. When we got up to this point, I thought my feet were going to blow out from underneath me. But what doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
After the RCs made the climb relatively easy, I decided to break out the Oset and see if I could make it up the hill on that.
Oh, everything's moving. Whew. Like that part, that's nice. And the sand, the killer. Whew. So steep.
It was a fun challenge to push this little bike to its limit and see how steep of a hill it could really pull me up. Once I made it about halfway up, I was really wanting the Sherco, but I actually didn't bring my bike on this trip since Team RYP will have it at the Nationals, so we packed kind of light and had to make the most of it.
Nice little crack here. Oh, super loose though. Oh boy. Yeah. Can't really brake anymore.
The up was a lot to ask. That was hard. The The bike did much better at the base of the hill, and I found some really fun lines to ride. Plenty of traction out here. We made another stop at a spot I thought was going to be good for bikes, but instead I just broke out another RC and did some bashing. It was so much fun to just launch it off some cliffs and not worry about the landing, because it's RC, so it can just hurt your wallet when you crash.